Hello, the species value nature system. And ad companies with AdSense and with the companies associated with WFSB. They're recorded and involved with evidence crime rolls with child predators, also with interbranch sources of theirs, and with their private investigators, also with other Connecticut media, like Foxct, with roles recorded and confessed with undercover police and with other intercity police, with crime rolls with the kids and with the gangs, and with evidence rackets and with medical corruption, doctors, whole families of doctors with kids, recorded forging names, switching sequences, forging names, switching names with police, regular, and with agencies, and with their recorded crime rolls with federal criminals that were their co-defendants, like former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, federal criminals from my town, with a daughter in my grade, and with other kids. They had drug crime rolls with huge drug cliques, recorded it, and confessed and progressed, criminally used for evidence crimes. Well, they direct them to put illusions online tied to their uses of them as for witness fabrication roles growing up, and through time. And with that need, they had lie progressions, because we have courts confessed since they were kids, people working with them now, and still there, still associated with them, recorded, confessed, and directing them to evidence racket roles, pretending that people are liars to pretend they had conversations with them, like a Justin Klavinskis and his wife, recorded and confessed involved with little kids with crimes with them, and tied to their roles with investigators with fire departments and with military, with sex crime roles, with as the value of that, with online rape threats, interbranch, intercity. Lucinda Klavinskis. I never had a class for her. People used to, for years, they used to confess, people tied to her. For out of nowhere, they come say things to me sequentially, per crime method they have with databases. And you don't even know the people, so you can't respond. And the people you do know, you just know them because they're in collusion with that. With a Detective Dillon with his family confessed and recorded and involved with crime rolls with kids in my immediate area through time. People from my grade, and the cousins, one of the cousins was in my grade of my neighbor, who I never had anything to do with him and most of his friends. With him, I did know. Like, sometimes I drove to school with them, and once in a while they would come and seek me out and explain things in relationship to this. Because everyone grew up being used for database crime rolls that they didn't want, but they were also incentivized to it, and had lie progression, cover-up needs, and natures cultivated to them, now needing to hide from actually recorded nature. And within as the value of courts, stacking sequence shifts and fabrications, fake conversations, fake body language, sequence shifts, switching names, hiding lies and confessions tied to the courts, also recorded with the rape threats. They also, the news told Weathersfield parents stories, and they've been using Connecticut style with roles with this, which is another television show, having their investigators and their correspondents have conversations with families recorded and confessed criminally involved, with interbranch police families, with medical corruption families, and then with nice businesses, or big businesses like mom and pop ones, but involved with the rackets with internation police here too, and with roles with their doctors here too, with sick with the kids, with evidences, and with the news. Other branches also, Weathersfield parks, were also recorded and confessed, used to cultivate their motivations for the roles, recorded with the crime, evidence crimes, with the child predators, and with the rape threats, faking both sides of stories to prevent mandated law from being followed. A doll is also recorded and confessed with a number of people associated with UConn, Also recorded and confessed with crime rolls with deans at various colleges, confessed and recorded, and switching names too, recorded with that, like with online crimes too, with the online investigators. Also, Joshua Stryker, I never had a conversation with my life. He's recorded and confessed with crime rolls with a bunch of Alicias, tied to my former neighbors, and confessions with some other person I know of, who made confessions, also recorded and confessed on and verified online, tied to their roles with an untimely death on Trinity's campus. In all these database illusions they put me in, pretending I had a conversation with and know about the Alicias, who are recorded and confessed involved with in-court confessions and out-of-court confessions, and in-court crimes and out-of-court crimes, confessed and recorded, tied to court police through time, since 2001 too. These are people tied to federal criminals that were recorded in the Trade Center context. Also with histories of evidence crime rolls with investigators, homeland and foreign, and they were in that interstate facilitated context. Because I was in there in relationship to a court, my father's court case, which was a civil case, which was part of a case. He proved he had, after 9/11, he proved he had, we were there right before the attack. He proved that there had been sequence shifts from inside the Ninth Circuit, which is in Manhattan, in other words, and that led to a 2006 case with the federal criminals who were co-defendants of former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and one of them was Charlie LeConte, who had a daughter in my grade, confessed and recorded involved with crime rolls with men and women who grew up with crime rolls directed to them, with evidence crime rolls and other natures of them directed to them by their roles with the same police and investigators, recorded and confessed involved with the rest of the child predators, proven and further recorded and further confessed. They also stacked these crimes to prevent people, to pretend they don't understand people. In other words, they started problems that they can't put on paper because they've been faking paper. They've been faking the rules with the courts through time since I was a kid. And with the rest, some of the recorded rest of the and confessed rest of the child predators associated with the hallways of the courts, and with Eric Mendez and with his brother Genito Mendez, recorded and confessed involved with crimes with police equipment, pretending it recorded things it didn't, sequence shifts, involved with evidence fabrication, forging names of police, switching names of police, threatening people not to make complaints in the police department over the mail or online. I tried to talk to a guy online, had physical delusions recorded. Now they got they said because of inactivity, they're blocking my AOL account. It's because they're hiding the federal crimes with the Wethersfield police, with the campus police, and with the court police on and off campus, with NAS, the drug cliques tied to that, and actors tied to that untimely death on campus. And the one over here that brought up the detectives sick with the school, and the rest with the family members. See, my neighbor had a family member in my grade, but I didn't know he used to hang around with my neighbor. Once in a while, you know, pretty often I would see him and stuff like that, but it was only in relationship to, like, in other words, the impression they were painting, because they came in my grammar school, and they had roles with investigators and interbranch actors with rackets through kids. There's also people I don't remember the names of because they weren't in my class. They came into my class, made a confession about Alina's Pizza when I was a kid, and I never understood that until and also it was about Lance Cuddy. So people, before I met them, or I never even met them until I was an adult, and they have recorded that's one of the Alicias and a Maggie tied to that. Also, she has other boyfriends that they're like a sex circle or undercover or whatever, but they're with investigators recorded and confessed, internation and homeland and interstate associated with evidence crimes. and with this group, interstate. And with the Alicia's also reported and confessed interstate, tied to on-off campus CCSU crimes at the same time with the same people, also connected to the service peoples with the school, and with the investigators, private and other natures of them, with this and with their roles with the crimes. They also drug dealed through an Eric Jensen, who confessed and recorded this to me with other Weathersfield police that are now police that were involved with like all kinds of drugs, things with like steroids, different kind of drugs, with doctors, families, in court evidence, crime rolls and stuff like that, and with databases, people like cliques with they had their kids and their parents were tied to the databases.